לכו נרננה אדוני, נעריה לצור ישנו, נקדמה פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו, אשר נשבעתי ואפי, אם יפון אל מנוחתי. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, מכל העמים נפלאותיו. שבת שלום, שבת שלום רבי, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Cantor. It's not just good to see you, it's really good to hear you. Somehow your energy always travels even over fiber optics. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It has been a week. So I'm going to invite everyone to take a big, deep breath in as we prepare ourselves to head into Shabbat. And it is my honor to welcome in the Perlmutters to help us light the Shabbat candles before Elliot becomes a bar mitzvah tomorrow morning.
Wait, can you hear it? Like that. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, ladlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, להדליק נר של Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, Mazal Tov to the Perlmutter family. It's so good to see you, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Looking forward to it. Elliot, good job.
So we are going to continue as we head into Shabbat and we think about all the joy that we experienced this week and also what was difficult this week. And in some respects, we take all of it and we put it to the side and we prepare ourselves as we elevate into the Chadodi as we move into this new time.
לשם ותפארת ואלי תהילה לך דודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצחולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שלום עליכם מלאכי חשרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכו מלשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
I'm going to invite you to rise if you are comfortable and to face east as we move into the Baruch.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך
So we move now to Mariv, and I'm going to do an English reading. But before we get to the English reading, Mariv's really about awesome moments in nature and in the world. And so, Cantor, I wanted to ask you what your best moment in nature was this week. I can tell you for me, it was earlier today that it was raining and sunny. And you could just look across the valley and see these layers of rain. And I just realized how much I miss that and how appreciative I am for when the clouds let go of it for us.
For me, it's actually an indoor experience. It was before I came to do this service tonight. I was snuggling up with my dog, who's an
Kaya.
example of nature, Kaya, in front of the fire. And I was just lying on the floor, kind of spooning her in front of the fire. And that was a great, great, great experience of different kinds of nature.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gate, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly choruses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night, and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name, ever-living God. May you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. And as we now move into the Shema, I'm going to invite everyone to take a big, deep breath in. Feel your feet where you are. Feel where you're sitting or where you're standing. Feel your shoulders relax. And you can cover your eyes if you would like to, as we move in and listen to our voice and think where we were the last time we said the Shema, and we think of the unification of everything.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
So we're going to continue now as we move into Micha Mocha, and we think about the miracle of us coming together at the edge of a sea when everything seemed impossible and we were stuck, and then boom, we burst into a new freedom and into a new reality.
Micha Mocha Bailim Adonai
So as we continue now, we're going to move in to let there be love before we do the blessing for those who are in need of healing. And so what I'm going to invite you to do is to take a moment as we move into this meditative place of thinking of those who are in need of healing, and then also to just put into the chat who you are praying for, what their relation is to you, and then, as I always remind you, please remember to reach out and tell them that you prayed for them, because it doesn't work unless they know.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Oh, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
As a congregation, we are praying for Susan Cole, Frank Friedman, Ruth Rishin, Marilyn Lebarsky, Michael Shaw, Rusty Holden, Lauren Knickerbocker, Lorenza Miranda, Armando Salazar, Daniel Salazar, Leonard Paul, Kenneth and Mary Klein. Mishaberach Avotenu V'imotenu. Avraham Yitzhak V'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rechav Alea Hu Yivarech et Acholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and a complete renewal of spirit. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש.
So now we move to the peak moment in our service where we really stop and we start moving into a very internal conversation with the divine. And so I'm going to invite you, if you're comfortable, to rise. If you are more comfortable being seated, you can stay seated as we move into the Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanura, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imachot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Kipor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha b'gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit u'mechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atal hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kedoshim b'chol yom yahlalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
So I'm going to invite you to continue silently now with the words your heart, or if you're following along in the prayer book, with the words in the prayer book, where we begin putting all of our attention and all of our focus on Shabbat into what we are grateful for in the world.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'akol Israel. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water.
Thank you, Cantor, and thank you, Dick. I miss being in 3 dimensions with you both, but I'll take this until I can get that. What a week it has been. What a 4 years it has been. This week, it made me think back to where I was 4 years ago. And 4 years ago tonight, I was standing right here. I mean, well, not here because I'm virtual now. But 4 years ago, I stood at Emanu-El trying to make sense out of where our nation was and where we were headed. And a common thread woven through our nation on that night was all parties seeing darkness on the day of the inauguration. The only difference is where in the night a person thought we were. Was it midnight? Or was it about to be dawn? Trump had just given his inauguration speech, which became known as American Carnage, which described a bleak, torn apart, and divided nation. Those on the left, they feared a rise of anti-Semitism, given the constant references by Trump to America first, as a direct reference to the anti-Semitism of Lindbergh from the 1930s. Lindbergh coined the term America first as an anti-Semitic line for the populist movement. He said 3 forces were going to drag America into World War II: the British, Roosevelt, and the Jews. The left was afraid of liberties to be taken away. And in the meantime, the left talked about half of Trump's supporters being a basket of deplorables. How could those people in the red states have voted for Trump? And now we stand here, 4 years later, almost as if the feelings of this nation were prophetic, because the left were correct. Muslims were banned. Children were locked up in cages. Jews were shot in synagogues. Nazis marched in Charlottesville and onto the Capitol floor. But the right was correct as well. We are more divided than ever before. Cancel culture and wokeness has become a more prevalent part of internet culture. And with each of these examples, each side can claim to be prophetic. They can claim to have read what was coming better than those people on the other side. But I don't think that's the point, or even usually a true statement. As if we can foretell the future. It's not as if telling the future is what makes a prophet. When Nazis are called very fine people, it creates space for them to exist. When people who voted for Trump in the red states become those people, it gives space for greater division. When we cut off open and difficult dialogue and instead cancel people, we create space for more division and anger. It's not that our nation was prophetic, no. We created our own reality and brought it roaring to life because words matter. This is a fundamental idea in Judaism. In the beginning of the Torah, in Bereshit, we see the world is created through words. Literally, the entire concept of matter and light are created from words. The concept, it burrows into our psyches as Jews. It's why in those opening lines we are told that we are made in the image of God. It's not because we look like God, but through our words, we have the ability to imagine and to create anything. Now, when we begin to truly understand that what we speak is what will come to be, we realize the power of our influence and that everything in the world is created and that nothing is permanent. And the rabbis, they get this. You can see this in almost everything we do. For example, think about Shabbat, which is a completely artificial measurement of time because a week, it doesn't really exist. Now, a year exists. It corresponds to where we are in relation to the sun. A month, it exists. We can see the tides change and we can look to the sky to monitor the movement of the moon. But a week? Totally arbitrary. If you fell asleep and woke up 24 hours later, you could tell what time of year you were in and where the moon was, but you would have no idea what day of the week it was. Judaism decided that one day called Shabbat would be sacred, but the rest of the days would not. And an incredible thing happened. When everyone bought into this system, suddenly it became real. And if asked, everyone would agree that Wednesday is different from Saturday. But it's not inherently different unless we choose to make it so. We invented the weekend. We decided that time could be sacred, and as a result, it feels different. And we also do this with one of our most basic actions, with eating. We classified some food as sacred, kosher, and others as not, non-kosher. We have a blessing for everything. And the blessing, it doesn't change the external world, it changes us. When I say the blessing over the bread does not change, but my perception of it does. The late Steve Jobs said in an interview, life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, that everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you, and you can change it, you can influence it, and you can build. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory said that the revolutionary idea that Judaism brought to the world was that we change the world not through the idea of power, but through the power of ideas. Part of why we are here today in a world where it feels as if there is more anti-Semitism, in a world we are more divided than when we were 4 years ago, is because words matter. Words create our reality. If I say those people are evil, they become evil, and we continue to divide. Now, I'm not saying they're not evil people. What I am saying is that nearly half our country is not evil. I don't care which side you're on. If we want something different, if we want a different world, we have to build it. And it begins with our words. Our words change our perception, and our words create reality. Sitting back and shaking your head and not understanding those other tens of millions of people who voted different than you, it does not change reality. But reaching out and talking and unifying, it does change our reality. In this week's Parsha, we'd been enslaved for hundreds of years. And it took Moshe Rabbeinu to have the chutzpah to speak of freedom. And it's only because he uttered the words with his imperfect speech, "Let my people go," that we ever became free. Now, using your voice, it does not mean just complaining about the world. Creating a new world does not happen from writing angry letters about how terrible San Francisco is and then packing up and leaving instead of staying and building. Our city and our nation, it will not change until we speak our dreams into reality. And then do the long, hard, and deeply, deeply sacred work of building the world as we know it ought to be. And we must remember that the future is not predetermined. Reality is not set, and nothing in life is guaranteed. The future in front of us can be one of division and darkness, or one of unification, where all of our streams of life, both red and blue, they come together. And in the words of Amanda Gorman, when day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there's always light. If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. Shabbat Shalom.
Mm-hmm. למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יקרא אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We now reach the moment in our service when we remember those who have passed away. We remember those who have passed away and will be laid to rest after the Shabbat. Howard Miller and Allison Small. We remember those who have passed away in the last 30 days. Thomas Langsdorff, Alessandra Beck, Ellen Garner, Joseph Pell, Richard Rosen, Anne Rose King, Dr. Henry Landau, Morton Denker, Han Johnson, Pauline Leibowitz, Barry Rubens, Sophia Lambert, Howard Gilman, Tess Rosenbush, Pesabat David Vishane. And we remember those whose yahrzeits, whose passing fall on this Shabbat. Edith Ark, Myron S. Ark, Gita Begelman, Laurie Joan Barker, Harold Daniel Barton, Abe Belson, Rosie Berger, Abraham Berman, Doris Blinks, Minnie Blumenthal, Miriam Busina, Catherine Branston, Rayfield Irving Bressler, Judith Brody, Samuel Brody, Mary McMullen Brown, Ann Berger, Marion Debs Kane, Rachel Caro, Elizabeth Chesler, Patricia B. Kuzik, Sharon Davidoff, Jerry Edelson, Isaac Ehrlich, Gustav Gus Ernst, Dorothy Feigenbaum, Robert Charles Fink, Joe Fireside, Brian Foreman, Eleanor Friend, Stephanie Mueller-Gore, Roberta Ruby Gorin, Clarence Green, Dr. Walter Gruber, Bernard Hecht, Libby Hoffman, Erwin William Holman, Samuel Sidney Jacobs, Simon Capstein, Emma Kapustina, Redima Klebanner, Ruth E. Nee, Yitzhak Hoffman, Yona Konstinsky, Alec Lambie, Mary Lazarus, Molly Breyer Levinson, Hyman Lisker, Jean Livshin, Ida Presser London, Ruth Madfis, Emmanuel Manning, Peter Mark, Marcia Markles, Esther Medwick, Harry Melnick, May Melnick, Louise Miller, Judith Milstein, Seymour Mindell, Matthew Mitchell, Marion N. Morris, Laureen Morton, Gunther Mosham, Robert L. Novak, Kathy Ozer, Natalie Weisberger Paul, Robert Plevin, Aaron Possman, Miriam Price, J. Arthur Pritzker, George Reiner, Robert Roseler, Charles Rosenberg, Ronnie Sachs, Gabby Semet, Maddie Leigh Sankovich, Saul Schur, Noah Skylam, Jack Siegel, Saul Charles Siegelman, Dorothy Silver, Francis Silverman, Evelyn J. Spiegelman, Melvin Steinberg, Blanche Stern, Seamus Verbilov, Cheryl Taylor, Beatrice Teitler, Linda Thaler, Monte Toole, Mickey Wapner, Sala Webb, Jeanette Warboff, James Whiteford, Ruth Cooper Wolin, Ruth Wolin, Phyllis Shakut Zell, Igor Zoftis, and Rabbi Alvin Fine, who served this congregation from 1948 to 1964, and Cantor Joseph L. Portnoy, who served this congregation from 1959 to 1986. If there's someone else who you are remembering, I'm going to invite you to please put their names within the chat and to please join us in Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach yotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen, yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam almei almaya, yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah brichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nachamata, damiran b'yama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim alena ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, alena ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all of Israel, and to all the world. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen. Oh, say shalom, bimromav, huya say shalom, aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen. I'll say shalom b'mromav, huya say shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, Okay, Rabbi, I believe we are about to do the Kiddush. Is this right?
I think you are right.
Okay. So how about I'll start. I'll do the Kiddush and you'll do the Motzi.
Great.
Okay. Because I'm guessing you have, I have some bread, but I'm guessing you've got a beautiful challah over there.
I do have a challah, but I'm going to have to go grab it. So I will grab it while you're doing Kiddush. How does that sound?
You got it.
You're on.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. And I invite you all, of course, to raise your glasses if you have something. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemasei bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikocha ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. And I can picture you all out there raising your glasses. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. And everybody make a l'chaim with me. L'chaim. And then it won't be too far in the not too distant future that we'll be making a l'chaim together.
I will say I was told by Jim earlier today that one of his favorite things with our Shabbats is that he now can sit around and drink a bottle of wine during services. So that might be like might have to like mix these two things together when we get back to reality.
Everything's going to be different.
It's all going to be different. But can I just show you what I made today?
Please.
Look at that.
Yasher koach.
So I'm going to invite, if you have a challah or any food you have, if you could grab it, join us. That's good. It's bodine. It works.
Lechem. Amotzi lechem.
I'm going to have to bring you a challah next week, it looks like. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Cantor. Thank you for filling up my Shabbat as you always do.
Thank you for joining me in this beautiful Shabbat, Rabbi Bauer. Shabbat shalom.